Hey guys, David here, and we finally got yet another DC Multiverse action figure in the 7-inch scale from McFarlane Toys that I personally thought to be an actual worthwhile addition. It's one of the few figures in recent memory that I looked at and said, you know, if anything, this is probably one. Still not the biggest fan of the fact that it was made into a red platinum variant with the little sticker, considering that those are much more difficult to find, but at least I'm a little happier knowing that in person, the figure most definitely looked better from those initial leaked photos from overseas, and most definitely even better than whatever that artwork is on the back of the box. That, in anything, is kind of setting off a little bit of my AI detector. I gotta be honest, there's something about that artwork on the back. I'm hoping it's not the case, but I'm getting the slight AI ick from it. Technically means he would pair incredibly well with the Arkham Origins Batman from InArt, but considering the $100 to $120 price discrepancy, it's not pragmatic. So any day now, McFarlane, before the license is up, if you guys want to throw over a little bit of a crumb towards Arkham Origins fans with either a Black Mask or, of course, a Batman proper from that game, that would be greatly appreciated. With that out of the way, I can fondly say, yeah, it's doing a much better impression on me, seeing it here in hand, considering that some of those little details that I was kind of making out about the vest here in the middle being a little bit too plain, a little bit too washed out, is much more favorable to the figure in person, considering that you can see better shadings of shadow drop, so to speak, for the buttons kind of closing the vest together there in the middle, some wrinkling effect that is not necessarily a paint app per se, obviously, but once you cast a bit of a light, especially in a light box like this or in some kind of detailing display, it's going to look a little bit more filled in and lived in. Now, that's not to say that this is a remarkable buck that was utilized for Black Mask. After all, Roman Sionis likes to wear practically nothing but just suits, so it's good that they were able to go into their resource bank and pull out some effective uses of pre-existing suit bodies that, yes, it gets a little tiring to see a dude in a suit and being replicated over and over, but at least it looks like they went for a form of tailoring that makes sense for Black Mask, for going to this imposing route of really delivering on the way that the body kind of comes together. Sure, we can kind of make out some reuse of the arms here, specifically with the way that these wrinkles are made out, the way that the shoulders are kind of protruding off to the sides, and then everything kind of connecting here in the middle to the point where I recognize those legs from a mile away. Take your pick of as far as which Jokers they probably tooled this together from, but it's all about the execution. And to me, I feel like for the most part, the pinstripe paint decals all the way across the board really do make sense, as well as the sculpting for the wrinkling that, to me, if anything, it's just popping a little bit better in person than it initially did before. To the point where there's even some paint apps that caught me off guard, realizing that I didn't really think that they were going to do, such as the white tips here for the shoes. They could have easily had this be just a completely all black shoe like they've done a number of times for their Jokers, for Scarecrows, what have you, take your pick. But it's good to see that they kind of favored a little bit of the in-universe sort of personality that Roman Sionis is often doing, which is to be very showy, be really luxurious with the way that he likes to really flaunt his wealth. So to see that they went and colored in the tips here with the white makes sense for the character. And like I said, it gives a little bit of showmanship to the character himself. Now, as I navigated up the legs, I noted something that I thought was kind of neat, but you know, leave it to McFarlane to kind of leave it just a tiny little half-assed, which would have to be this texture work that you can kind of make out throughout the pants. Most of which I really liked around the thigh area, because you'll notice that it's kind of going for this squared checkerboard design to the texture that I really like, only to see that being a little bit more abandoned when we get to either the diaper piece or the lower parts of the legs, because if you look a little closely, you'll note that the texture is only working in the linings for the horizontal sort of axis, not so much vertical or, like I mentioned before, checkerboard. So if by any chance you do get a little triggered by the mix match of texture work happening here, that might be a little bit of an issue. Now, granted, the average layman may not notice all the way, but it could kind of harken back to a very common complaint that a lot of people had, which would have to be paint apps that are very present on the front of a figure, but then be completely abandoned on the back, specifically for very caped superhero characters, considering that the reasoning there is because they have a cape in the back, so nobody's going to look at the back. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, but the optics, it's the work present, and it just screams lazy, especially since once again, we're dealing with a figure here that's reminding me an awful lot of the Jack Nicholson Joker, where you kind of have a little bit of a half emptied out torso here in the middle. Now, of course, that's going to come very favorably when it comes to articulation, but it is a little off-putting to then have a hold of the figure, mess around with the tooling, only to then come across with some major, as you can see right there, indentation inside of the rubberized torso to make out that, yes, they truly did hollow out this little middle part of the abdomen. But at least it gets a bit more filled in when you get to the chest. Like I said, I specifically mentioned the Nicholson Joker because he had the similar kind of tooling underneath there, as opposed to the atrocious Cillian Murphy Scarecrow from Batman Begins that was also a red platinum variant from, I believe, early last year, that was completely hollowed out from the top of the shoulders to the waist, and it was an atrocity. So having this top shoulder part right here feels a little bit more filled in, a little weightier, some quality, some actual bang for your buck, so to speak, especially since you're dealing with $25 a pop for figures that, as you can see, it's not necessarily offering an awful lot in the tray, especially when you're dealing with a character that was known for carrying around firearms, specifically at least a pistol, and yet here we're not necessarily dealing with all that, but of course we know the answer to what that could be, and I'll touch on that a little bit more later. But at least around the shoulder area, he feels a little bit more solid, specifically with the way that they not only etched out the tie, the shirt for the black there, although a little bit of misalignment and a little bit of dripping happened with the pinstripe here. I wasn't exactly expecting these lines right here to line up exactly to the ones here towards the bottom of the shoulders, because lapels and collars don't necessarily do that in real life. But you'll note that a little bit of bleed over is happening for some of the pinstripes right there. That's a bit of a bummer. But when you get to that head sculpt, is anything but misaligned or mispainted, because this is definitely where the figure is carried. It's going to be the Black Mask head sculpt, because it is wonderful. It is, of course, leaning towards a much more comic interpretation, but to me, that's arguably one of the things that stood out to me from the promo photos and what made me want to take it home with me when I went to Walmart. So you can see quite a bit of that weathering for the semi-jet finish here on the actual skull that McFarlane can be really good at if they just simply lock in. And it does look like they managed to do that here for Black Mask, considering that you get some colored in eyes there for the iris as well as the pupils. You get, of course, some added little finishes of white and light gray for the teeth. The sculpt work behind the actual sockets for the eyes as well as the jaw here is immaculate, and I even appreciate that they didn't go for just the traditional flesh-colored skin tone for the neck. They actually abided by the way that it looks like in the comics, where it's completely covered in black, connecting on over to the mask. But naturally, you do have the head joint there that's going to separate at, which could cause a little bit of gappage there, but as long as you kind of maneuver it all the way across there, you can sort of hide it in plain sight. And I guess while we're at it, we'll tackle the articulation, which is yet another pretty pleasant surprise from the Black Mask figure here, considering that he is a suited character, and more often than not, they come with little caveats towards the articulation. But this guy's pretty damn flexible. As noted there, the head can actually turn all the way around 360, tilt up and down, side to side, and even kind of sort of shift in place around the neck area, so different forms of expressions found there. The arms are also pretty cool as far as rotating vertically 360, extending on over to the sides, and even a little bit of butterfly motion and shrugging and pivoting in all manners of direction there because of some spacing there that can even give you some different little bits of poses and expressions for the shoulders, specifically with a character like Roman Sionis, where I feel like he's at his most intimidating, where you can kind of flex his shoulders a little higher up to give him a little bit of volume there and make him a little bit more imposing. Now, like I mentioned before, these arms, we have seen them in the past before with other suited characters, so naturally they're going to have the traditional tooling for the biceps that allow full rotation all the way around, double bended elbows. Even the areas that you would imagine would be a little stagnant, considering that it's a suited character, like the cuffs around the wrists and even the ankles, are pretty flexible and movable as far as being able to allow the hands to rotate the full 360, pivot and bend inwards and outwards pretty nicely. I'm kind of skipping a little bit ahead here, but the ankles can definitely rotate all the way across, as you can see before you there. Some decent pivoting upwards and downwards and some slight inclination side to sides. Again, it's not the most favorable with much more, compared to much more agile characters like Batman, Superman, other pantheon of heroes from DC, but at the same time, it's much more than I was expecting, if I'm being quite honest. Same thing for the torso. Now, like I mentioned before, there is a little bit of hollowness to be found there, but at least that truly does mean that you're going to get some pretty good flexibility as far as allowing pretty much the two halves of the body to fully rotate the full 360, being able to bend and incline and sort of crunch forwards and backwards pretty generously, side to sides, and even kind of shift just a tiny little bit right there in different kinds of directions. Top legs can kind of extend a pretty decent amount upwards like so, and even over to the back, just mind a little bit of the gap formed around the diaper piece there, but also some good clickety-clack extension on over to the sides. Just mind a little bit of flexing here on the obliques and even the hip sides because of, again, that little bit of hollowness. But as we mentioned, just like with the elbows and the arms in total, you're going to find an awful lot of familiarity here with the knees because they are, in fact, legs that were replicated and pulled from other suited characters before. So naturally, the double knees are going to work all the way across right there. And that's frankly really about it. So you can see right there that, yeah, it's not necessarily the most like blockbuster grand revelation of a figure in regards to a suited character, but what's really carrying it is going to be the paint apps for the pinstripe suit, the little texture work that they can really, hone in on if they really do focus and give it their best efforts. When it comes to a little bit of that texture work for some parts of the suit, again, I wish that there was a much grander form of consistency from top to bottom, but at least an awful lot of the heavy lifting is being done by this really immaculate head sculpt. It's just a shame that this guy could not come with any other form of accessory that can really kind of give this guy a bit more of a presentational boost, considering that on the side we only got one right fist and a sort of extended deal making, as I like to call it, left hand right there, which naturally means that you can swap them out for the default gripping hands that you can definitely make out are forming a bit of a triggering gesture there, because naturally, McFarlane wants you to fill in the gaps here by posing him with either of the munitions pack that McFarlane themselves sells separately, or whatever it is that you can adorn Black Mask here so that he truly looks villainous like he does in the comics. Which I get to an extent, but at the same time, there's a part of me that's like, well, here in the Sunset, you have the DC license. We've seen you kind of being able to push the envelope a little bit with characters that are labeled 17 plus and come with their natural accessories and weaponry. And yet, at the same time, there's this like little sort of escape rope that McFarlane utilized with Black Mask here because he probably wanted to keep him as a single card release. And in order to pack him in with those guns, there's probably some kind of WB stipulation that says, hey, you got to make him collector's edition. So not only with one gun, but he's also going to have to come with a bunch of other superfluous shit that is going to boost him up to the $35, almost $40 range. And at that point, he probably thought, all right, let's just throw him in as a red platinum, give him trigger hands, but that's naturally all that we're going to be able to do apart from the traditional card and base. So all that is to say is that I can understand the devil's advocate as to why this might not float everybody's boat, considering that it's a red platinum, and that kind of turns an awful lot of collectors off, especially when you're looking at a very definitive comic-based Black Mask like so. But at the same time, you really should not pass him up should you be lucky enough to come across him out in the wild. I feel like this is the definitive figure that I can honestly say you shouldn't scout for. You shouldn't pay the extra price towards some eBay reseller or Mercari reseller because you're not finding an awful lot of value proposition. But once you do got this main body, this main figure in hand, and you take a look, much closer inspectual look at that head sculpt, and you are a fan of the character and this part of the Rogues Gallery of villains, then he's definitely worthwhile a pickup at standard MSRP, especially if you're able to save a couple of bucks by picking him up at Walmart, because I know that for some strange reason they're able to kind of cut off a couple of those dollars down to a flat 25, and I would say at that price level, this Black Mask is worth it, but not a penny more. So are you guys in any kind of shape or form on the hunt for a red platinum Black Mask or any other figures out of this wave like the Black Adam, other comic-based characters such as that really flamboyant looking Brainiac? Or do you think that you're a little bit burnt out on the methodology that McFarlane implemented with the Red Platinums, especially with the Harvey Two-Face from the '89 comic coming down the pipeline and finally shipping out for a lot of collectors, myself included? I'm kind of waiting on my unit. Or are you holding out for the possible chance that maybe McFarlane will deliver on an Arkham Origins Black Mask along with the Batman from that game in 7-inch format? Finally. Whatever it is that you guys are thinking right now, let me know down in the comment section. And while you guys are down there, hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed this review. Thumbs down if you did not. Shout out to our executive producers over at the level 2 tier, Brian's New Dishwasher. And as always, stay humble. I'll catch you guys later.